The Zarnathian Empire, known for its brutal conquest and insatiable hunger for resources, had set its sights on a new target, Earth. To Supreme Commander Vraylox, it was laughable how little the humans understood the magnitude of their peril. From the vantage point of his command ship, Dominion's Edge, Vraylox reviewed intelligence reports detailing Earth's primitive orbital defenses, its thin fleet of satellites, and the complete absence of interstellar warships. Pitiful, Vraylox sneered, his voice a sharp hiss that echoed in the dimly lit war chamber. This planet will fall in a single cycle. Their surrender, or their annihilation, will be swift. His officers, a blend of reptilian and insectoid species, nodded in agreement, their claws clinking on control panels. None of them doubted their commander. The Zarnathians had crushed far more advanced civilizations with ease. A backwater species like humans would be no different. On Earth, President Nathaniel Henderson stood in the Grand War Room beneath the White House. Monitors displayed live feeds of alien fleets encroaching on the solar system. Beside him, General Carlos Steele, a decorated veteran and head of Earth's Unified Defense Command, analyzed holographic data with grim determination. "Our scans confirm it," Steele said, his voice measured but tinged with tension. "The Zarnathian fleet is moving in. We estimate 7 armadas, each carrying enough firepower to level a continent." Henderson crossed his arms, his face calm but resolute. "What's their ultimatum?" "They've demanded unconditional surrender within 48 hours, Steele replied. "Refusal will result in total planetary destruction." The room fell silent. Earth had faced its share of crises, wars, famines, natural disasters, but nothing on this scale. To humanity, interstellar conflict was still a theoretical concept. Yet here they were, standing on the precipice of extinction. "They think we're defenseless," Henderson said, breaking the silence. "That arrogance will be their undoing." Steele glanced at the president, his steel-gray eyes sharpening. "If we're going to prove them wrong, we need to play this carefully. We reveal nothing of our true capabilities until the moment is right." Unbeknownst to the Zarnathians, Earth had been preparing for a threat like this for decades. Project Erebus, a top-secret initiative hidden beneath the icy expanse of Antarctica, had been the product of humanity's most brilliant minds. The planet destroyer fleet was no myth, it was real, and its ships were designed not just to defend Earth, but to dominate any battlefield they entered. Carlos Steele had overseen the project from its inception, hand-picking its crew and ensuring its technologies remained hidden even from Earth's allies. He thought back to the day the project began, following a harrowing encounter with an alien scouting party that left an allied colony in ruins. The memory of their cries for help and humanity's helplessness still haunted him. "This time," he murmured, "we'll be the ones delivering the message." Colonel Paul Jones, Steele's second-in-command, entered the war room with a crisp salute. "General, the fleet remains on standby. We've cloaked their signatures per your orders. All civilian channels are broadcasting false distress signals to mask our movements." Steele nodded. "Good. Keep them guessing. If Vraylox thinks we're scrambling, he'll press forward without caution." Back aboard Dominion's Edge, Vraylox received a transmission from his scout ships. The hologram of a Zarnathian scout commander flickered to life. "Supreme Commander," the scout rasped, "we have observed no significant military response from the humans. They appear disorganized and reliant on outdated technology. Their planetary defenses will not last against our first wave." "Excellent," Vraylox purred, his predatory grin revealing sharp fangs. "Prepare the bombardment protocols. We will strike at their northern hemisphere first and cripple their infrastructure." The scout hesitated. "There is one anomaly. A series of energy readings in the southern polar region suggest a concentration of advanced technology, but it is heavily shielded. We could not penetrate the area with scans." Vraylox's grin faded into a scowl. "A minor inconvenience. If they have secrets, they will burn with the rest of their planet." As the Zarnathian fleet moved closer, Carlos Steele convened a final strategy meeting. Around the table sat Earth's top military minds and scientific advisors. A large hologram of the enemy fleet hovered in the center, its sheer size dwarfing anything Earth had ever faced. "Gentlemen," Steele began, his voice commanding, "this is our reality. The Zarnathians expect us to fold. They see us as weak, scattered, and unworthy of their respect." He paused, letting his words sink in. "What they don't know is that we've been watching them as closely as they've been watching us. They don't know about Erebus. They don't know about the planet destroyers. And they certainly don't know about the men in this room, ready to die before we surrender a single inch of this planet." The men around the table murmured in agreement. Steele continued, "When the time comes, we will unleash everything we've built, not just to defend Earth, but to remind the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with. Until then, we hold our ground and give them nothing but silence." The Zarnathians launched their first probe, a sleek, weaponized drone designed to test Earth's defenses. It streaked through the atmosphere, bypassing civilian satellites until it reached the Arctic Circle. The probe sent back images of vast, icy wastelands. No apparent defenses, no advanced technology, nothing but tundra and glaciers. But buried deep beneath the ice, the crew of the Hades, Earth's lead planet destroyer, waited in silence. Captain Elias Ward monitored the probe's feed, ensuring it captured only what they wanted the enemy to see. "They're buying it," Ward said, a smirk crossing his face. In the command room above, Carlos Steele watched the incoming fleet on a private feed. His fists clenched behind his back as he whispered, "Let them think we're defenseless. Let them come." The Zarnathian fleet advanced, unaware of the storm about to be unleashed. The Zarnathian fleet breached the outer edge of Earth's solar system, their massive warships blotting out the stars like an oncoming storm. Supreme Commander Vraylox stood at the helm of Dominion's edge, his scaled hands clasped behind his back. His golden eyes gleamed with anticipation as he addressed his officers. "Send the first wave. I want to see how these humans squirm under pressure." From the Zarnathian armadas, hundreds of sleek, black attack vessels surged forward, their engines roaring as they tore through the void. Each ship carried advanced plasma cannons capable of vaporizing city blocks. The fleet's approach was an unmistakable declaration of war. On Earth, General Carlos Steele observed the invasion from the war room. A massive holographic display showed the Zarnathian fleet's ominous advance. His jaw tightened as he turned to Colonel Paul Jones, who stood rigid beside him. "They're testing our defenses," Steele said. "They expect us to panic, and when we don't," Jones asked, his voice steady but tinged with anticipation. Steele allowed himself a faint smirk. "Then they'll overcommit. That's when we hit back." The room buzzed with activity as Earth's Unified Defense Command coordinated their initial response. Orbital laser batteries activated, their targeting systems locking onto the incoming Zarnathian vessels. The first shots fired were precise beams of concentrated energy, cutting through the void like fiery lances. Two alien ships erupted in blinding explosions, their debris scattering into space. "They're not invincible," Jones remarked. "No," Steele replied, "but they're not fools either. Let's see how they react." Vraylox growled as reports of losses reached his ears. "Impressive," he muttered, his tone laced with disdain. "They've learned to shoot." The Zarnathian commander turned to his chief tactician, a multi-limbed insectoid named Karnak. "Deploy the dreadnoughts. Overwhelm their defenses." Karnak chittered in acknowledgement, issuing the command. 3 colossal warships, each the size of a small moon, lumbered forward. Their hulls bristled with heavy weaponry designed to obliterate anything in their path. In orbit, Earth's defensive stations unleashed a torrent of missiles and railgun fire at the advancing dreadnoughts. The battle lit the night sky with streaks of light and bursts of flame. Despite their best efforts, the human forces were being pushed back. Steele leaned closer to the holographic display. "They're bringing out their heavy hitters. How's the fleet status?" Admiral Damian Ryder's voice crackled over the secure channel. From aboard the Erebus, the lead ship of the planet destroyer fleet, he gave his report. We're in position. Cloaks are holding, and the fleet is ready for engagement on your order. Hold, Steele commanded. We need them deeper in our territory. Let them think they've won. On the battlefield, Earth's forces adapted with remarkable tenacity. Squadrons of AI-piloted drones swarmed around the Zarnathian ships, exploiting weak points in their armor. Orbital laser platforms worked in tandem, delivering precision strikes that crippled smaller vessels. Among the chaos, Colonel Jones led a ground-based missile team stationed in Alaska. His team coordinated surface-to-space ballistic attacks, targeting the weaker underside of the alien ships. "Keep them focused on us," he barked, his breath fogging in the frigid air. "We're bait, not heroes." As missiles streaked into the sky, Jones's men cheered when two alien frigates spiraled out of control and crashed into the Pacific. Despite their small victories, Jones knew they were playing a dangerous game. Back aboard Dominion's Edge, Vraylox's patience began to wear thin. "Why do these vermin resist?" he snarled. Karnak responded, "Their tactics are unorthodox. They're adapting to our every move." Vraylox's claws drummed against the control panel. "Adapt all you like, humans. It won't save you." The dreadnoughts unleashed their full arsenal, targeting Earth's orbital defenses. A barrage of plasma bolts struck orbital stations, tearing through them like paper. The explosions lit up the atmosphere, visible from the planet's surface. Steele's expression darkened as he watched the destruction unfold. "They've crossed the line," he muttered. "Admiral Ryder," Steele said over the comms, his voice steady but resolute. "It's time. Unleash the fleet." On board the Erebus, Admiral Ryder smirked. "About damn time." The planet destroyer fleet emerged from its cloaked positions, hidden within the asteroid belt. The fleet was a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Massive, sleek warships bristling with experimental weapon systems. Each ship had been designed for one purpose: total dominance. As the fleet powered up its weapons, Vraylox's tactical screens lit up with alerts. New energy signatures had appeared on the fringes of the battlefield, signatures unlike anything his scanners had encountered before. "What is this?" Vraylox demanded, his voice rising with alarm. Earth's fleet wasted no time. The Erebus led the charge, firing its gravity-based disruptor cannon at one of the Zarnathian dreadnoughts. The massive alien vessel crumpled, as if crushed by an invisible hand, its remains scattering into the void. The Zarnathians reeled from the unexpected assault. Vraylox's eyes narrowed as he watched his fleet fall into disarray. "Impossible," he bellowed. "Where did these ships come from?" Admiral Ryder's voice came over an open channel, calm and cutting. "You should have stayed away from Earth." The tide of battle shifted dramatically. The planet destroyer fleet unleashed a relentless assault, combining advanced railguns, energy-based weaponry, and AI-coordinated precision strikes. Earth's forces fought with brutal efficiency, dismantling the Zarnathian fleet piece by piece. On the ground, Jones's team erupted in cheers as the alien dreadnoughts began retreating. He allowed himself a rare smile, but remained vigilant. "This isn't over," he said quietly. In the war room, Steele watched the battle unfold with a mixture of relief and determination. "They'll realize soon enough they underestimated the wrong species," he said to Henderson, who nodded grimly. His fleet, once an unstoppable juggernaut, was now on the defensive. "They're more dangerous than I thought," he muttered. Yet even as his forces faltered, Vraylox's mind raced with plans for retaliation. He would not let Earth's defiance go unpunished. With the planet destroyer fleet asserting dominance, Earth had struck back harder than anyone had anticipated. But the war was far from over, and Vraylox would ensure that humanity paid a steep price for its insolence. The remnants of the Zarnathian fleet retreated beyond Earth's orbital range, battered but not broken. Supreme Commander Vraylox stood in his command chamber aboard Dominion's Edge, seething. His fleet, once a symbol of the Empire's invincibility, had been humbled by what he had deemed a primitive species. His claws scraped against the metallic surface of his console, a sound that filled the silence as his officers awaited orders. "This isn't defeat," Vraylox growled, his golden eyes burning with fury. "It's a setback. We underestimated them, but they cannot hold us off forever." Karnak, his chief tactician, approached cautiously. "Their fleet is formidable, Supreme Commander, but they are not invulnerable. We have gathered enough data to identify weaknesses in their designs. A second assault, targeted and precise, will shatter their defenses." Vraylox turned slowly, his fangs bared in a predatory smile. "Then we regroup and strike harder. But first, we must teach these humans what it means to defy the Empire. Prepare the orbital annihilation cannon. If they will not kneel, their cities will burn." On board the Erebus, Admiral Damian Ryder convened his senior officers for a strategy meeting. The air in the war room was thick with tension. Though the planet destroyer fleet had dealt a devastating blow to the Zarnathians, Ryder knew this was only the beginning. "They're regrouping," Ryder began, gesturing to a holographic projection of the enemy fleet's movements. "They've taken heavy losses, but they're not retreating for good. They're planning something, and we need to be ready." Captain Elias Ward leaned forward, studying the projections. "Their movements suggest a flanking maneuver. They'll try to bypass our fleet and strike directly at Earth's surface." Ryder nodded grimly. "Which is why we're taking the fight to them. The best defense is a good offense." General Carlos Steele appeared on the display, joining the meeting from Earth's war room. His voice was steady, his tone resolute. "Admiral, you have full authorization for an offensive strike. But remember, our goal isn't just survival. We need to send a message to the Zarnathian Empire and anyone else watching. Earth is not prey. We are the predators." Ryder's lips curled into a fierce grin. "Understood, General. We'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of." The planet destroyer fleet mobilized, its massive warships cutting through the void with purpose. The Erebus led the charge, flanked by its sister ships, each bristling with advanced weaponry. Hidden within the fleet were smaller, stealth-capable strike ships designed for surgical assaults on high-value targets. Captain Ward commanded one such vessel, the Vanguard. As his crew prepared for the counteroffensive, Ward addressed them with a mixture of urgency and confidence. "The Zarnathians think they've seen what we're capable of. They're wrong. Today, we take the fight to them. Today, we show them that humanity doesn't just survive, we dominate." The crew erupted in cheers, their morale unshaken despite the odds. In the depths of space, the Zarnathians were regrouping. Their orbital annihilation cannon, a weapon of unimaginable destructive power, was nearly operational. Vraylox watched as his engineers worked tirelessly to bring it online. The cannon would obliterate entire continents in a single shot, leaving Earth's forces crippled and its people in despair. "Supreme Commander," Karnak reported, "the cannon will be ready to fire in 6 cycles. The humans have dispatched their fleet. They're heading straight for us." Vraylox's grin widened. "Let them come. They'll arrive just in time to watch their planet burn." The two fleets clashed in a violent storm of fire and steel. Earth's warships moved with calculated precision, their advanced targeting systems coordinating strikes that exploited every weakness in the Zarnathian vessels. The Erebus targeted the largest of the enemy's remaining dreadnoughts, its gravity disruptor cannon tearing the massive ship apart in a single, devastating shot. Meanwhile, the Vanguard and its squadron of stealth ships infiltrated the Zarnathian fleet. Using their cloaking technology, they bypassed the main battle line and zeroed in on the orbital annihilation cannon. Ward's voice was calm but firm as he addressed his crew. "This is it, people. That cannon goes online, and everything we've fought for is over. We take it out, or we don't come back." The Vanguard darted through the chaos, weaving between enemy fire. As they approached the cannon, the crew marveled at its sheer size, a monolithic structure bristling with weaponry and glowing with ominous energy. On board Dominion's Edge, Vraylox watched the battle with growing frustration. His fleet was faltering, unable to withstand the relentless assault from Earth's forces. Yet his faith in the annihilation cannon remained unshaken. "They can destroy as many ships as they like," he sneered. "It won't matter once the cannon fires." But his confidence wavered as alarms blared throughout the ship. "What now?" he roared. Karnak's mandibles clicked nervously. "Supreme Commander, human strike vessels have breached the perimeter. They're targeting the cannon. Stop them." Vraylox bellowed. "I want every available ship on that cannon. If it falls, we lose everything." The Vanguard led the charge, unleashing a barrage of missiles and energy blasts at the cannon's defensive structures. Zarnathian fighters swarmed to intercept, but Earth strike ships fought with unmatched ferocity. "Hold your course," Ward shouted as the Vanguard took a glancing hit from enemy fire. "We're almost there." As the Vanguard closed in, Ward's weapons officer locked onto the cannon's primary power core. "Target acquired. Fire," Ward commanded. A salvo of high-yield warheads streaked toward the core, detonating with a blinding explosion. The cannon shuddered as its power systems failed, cascading into a series of secondary explosions that tore the structure apart. Cheers erupted on the Vanguard, but Ward remained focused. "We're not done yet. Regroup with the fleet and finish this." From the war room on Earth, Steele and Henderson watched the destruction of the cannon with grim satisfaction. "They've lost their trump card," Steele said. "Now we finish the job." The Erebus led a final assault, its fleet obliterating the remaining Zarnathian ships. One by one, the invaders fell, their arrogance and brutality no match for humanity's resolve. As the last enemy ship exploded, a tense silence fell over the battlefield. Then, from the Erebus, Ryder's voice rang out over the fleet's comms. "All ships, stand down. The enemy is defeated." The counteroffensive had succeeded, but the war was not yet over. Vraylox had escaped, his flagship retreating into deep space. Humanity had won the battle, but Steele, Ryder, and their allies knew that the Zarnathian Empire would not let this humiliation go unanswered. The battlefield was silent now, the debris of the Zarnathian fleet orbiting Earth, like a grim reminder of the war's cost. On board the Erebus, Admiral Damian Ryder stood in the observation deck, gazing out at the wreckage. He leaned against the railing, his face etched with exhaustion and resolve. Behind him, Captain Elias Ward entered, his uniform streaked with soot from the Vanguard's harrowing assault on the annihilation cannon. "Admiral," Ward said, his voice steady despite the weight of the day, "reports are coming in. Enemy forces are retreating beyond the asteroid belt. For now, they've given up on Earth." Ryder turned, a faint smile touching his lips. "Good work, Captain. You and your crew just saved billions of lives." Ward nodded but hesitated before speaking again. "We're not done, though, are we?" Ryder's expression hardened. "No, this wasn't just a battle for Earth. It was a message. The Zarnathians will regroup, and next time, they won't underestimate us. We've bought time, but the war isn't over." On the planet's surface, General Carlos Steele stood atop a ridgeline overlooking a damaged missile base. The Alaskan tundra stretched out before him, its icy landscape scarred by the brief but brutal ground skirmishes. Colonel Paul Jones joined him, limping slightly from a shrapnel wound sustained in the fighting. "Hell of a view," Jones remarked, his breath visible in the freezing air. "Hell of a price," Steele replied, his tone somber. "But we held the line." Jones gestured toward the horizon, where repair crews were already working to rebuild the base's defenses. "They'll come back, won't they?" Steele's gaze didn't waver. "Count on it. But next time, we won't just defend. We'll strike first." The colonel chuckled dryly. "I like the sound of that." Steele finally allowed himself a small smile. "You'd better, because you and I are going to make sure this planet is ready for whatever's coming." Far beyond the solar system, Supreme Commander Vraylox sat in his private chamber aboard the retreating Dominion's Edge. His claws traced the deep grooves in the armrest of his chair, his expression unreadable. The ship was quiet, its corridors devoid of the usual hum of confident soldiers. Karnak entered cautiously, his movements deliberate as if fearing the Supreme Commander's wrath. "The fleet is scattered, Supreme Commander. We've lost nearly 70% of our forces." Vraylock's golden eyes snapped to his tactician. "And yet you live to tell me this." "Why?" The insectoid hesitated before responding. "Because the humans are unlike any species we've encountered. They adapt, they endure, and they fight with a ferocity we underestimated. If we are to destroy them, we must understand them first." For a moment, Vraylock said nothing. Then he rose, his towering frame casting a shadow over Karnak. "You speak the truth. This was not just a defeat, it was a revelation. Humanity is not prey. They are predators, and they have declared themselves worthy adversaries." His claws tightened into fists. "But they will learn the price of defiance. We will rebuild, and when we return, there will be no mercy." Back on Earth, the world reeled from the close call. Across the planet, nations worked together as never before, pooling resources and technology to strengthen humanity's defenses. The United Earth Council convened in Geneva, its chambers filled with representatives from every corner of the globe. General Steele addressed the assembly, his voice carrying the weight of the recent battle. "The Zarnathians underestimated us, and they paid the price. But make no mistake, this war is far from over. What we face is not just a battle for survival, but a fight to define our place in the galaxy." The room erupted in applause, a mixture of defiance and determination filling the air. In the months that followed, Earth transformed. Military recruitment soared as ordinary men and women stepped forward to defend their home. Research facilities worked around the clock, developing new technologies inspired by the Zarnathians' weaponry. The planet destroyer fleet expanded, its ships upgraded with even more devastating firepower. Admiral Ryder and Captain Ward oversaw the fleet's progress, their bond forged in the fires of battle. Steele and Jones trained a new generation of soldiers, their strategies honed by hard-earned experience. Yet amid the preparations, there was also a growing unease. The Zarnathians' retreat felt more like a pause than a victory. Late one night, Steele stood alone in the war room, staring at a holographic map of the galaxy. Henderson entered quietly, placing a steaming mug of coffee on the table. "You should sleep, sir," Henderson said. Steele didn't look away from the map. "I'll sleep when I'm dead. They're out there, regrouping. I can feel it." Henderson hesitated, then said, "We'll be ready, General. Whatever comes next, we'll be ready." Steele finally turned to face him. "We have to be, because the next time they come, it won't just be Earth they're after. It'll be everything we stand for,